I'm Ramie Makloff along with Judd Zulgad. We're asking you to grade the Vikings offseason now that it seems complete with Eric Kendricks restructuring his contract yesterday so they can afford to sign all their draft picks. So it appears that neither Kyle Rudolph nor anybody else will be traded to free up more cap space. This is the team that they'll report to camp with. So grade the offseason, 651-646-8255, or tweet us at SKOR North. If you're just tuning in, Judd in the first segment gave them a B-, which, like I said, is fair, Judd, but it's not the grade I would give them. And I'm a little bit more lenient to grader than you, apparently, because I am willing to give A's.
You're not giving them an A.
I think I'm giving him an A. Now, again, this is within the parameters of what they were able to do with the restrictions that they had given their salary cap and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And I 100% agree with you about Gary Kubiak. I think that the number one goal of the Vikings this offseason was to prop up Kirk Cousins, to put him in the best possible situation that you could put him in with the resources that you had at hand for him to be successful. And putting him back in a system that he's comfortable in by bringing Gary Kubiak in, I think was a great start to doing that.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about free agency and bringing Everson Griffin back, now I said the number one goal of this offseason had to be to prop up Kirk Cousins and put him in a position to succeed.
Yes.
That doesn't mean it was the only goal, because the backbone of the Vikings is that defense. That's why Mike Zimmer is still your head coach. That's the only reason Mike Zimmer is still your head coach, is the backbone of this team is your defense, and he's a brilliant defensive mind. And you already took a step back from 2017 to 2018 with your defense. Even if Kirk Cousins improves, can you compensate and make up for another step back from a defense? Because I know Everson Griffin is not in his prime anymore.
Right.
But losing Everson Griffin still is a hit to your defense, especially when you've already lost Sheldon Richardson.
But if you
in the same offseason.
But you've got guys who can rush. If you would have been willing to lose him and been able to bring in a veteran on the left side of your offensive line, I believe that's an improvement that was very possible. Because I'm not asking that you bring in Pro Bowl players. I'm saying that you could have brought in a veteran who would have helped you more. And I think at the expense of an aging Everson Griffin, that would have been worth it to me.
I don't have the names in front of me right now, but I remember being underwhelmed by the class of free agent offensive linemen.
I think we often are, though.
Right.
But it's just because we don't know them.
So
it's a huge name.
I don't mind them investing that money in Everson Griffin instead to at least keep your defense level to what it was last year. And I've said before on this show, if this team wants to be in the conversation for a Super Bowl, they have to return to 2017 form. Even if you get the most improvement you can get out of Kirk Cousins from one season to the next. Mm-hmm. They need to return to 2017 form if you want to be in the discussion for a Super Bowl. And I just don't think that you lose Sheldon Richardson and Everson Griffin in the same offseason and not take a significant step back in terms of the quality of your defense. You say they have guys who can rush.
Yeah, they do.
I say you can never have too many pass rushers. I say keeping Everson Griffin provided depth for pass rushers, which is something that is never a bad thing to have.
It does, but I'm not sure what you're going to get after what I saw last year, which was obviously a tough year. If he was still remotely close to being the same player, and I was assured of that, I wouldn't have made that move. But I think that with the predicament that they're in and their ability to develop guys, which they are very good at, that to me was a pretty easy, okay, you're done here. And thus we have more money to go address offensive line with a veteran, and you could have done that, and they didn't. But I'm still giving them B-. So are you giving them a flat out A?
I think I'm giving them a solid A.
A little A- here. You want to drop it down just half a grade, Professor
I think
Ramie?
I'm giving them a solid A.
Oh, boy.
I do.
The kids are throwing spitballs around the classroom. Ramie doesn't care.
I don't think it's that crazy. And then you look at what they did in the draft. They addressed their needs in the draft. They got two offensive linemen with their first 3 picks.
I give them credit for that.
They get Irv Smith Jr. because now that you kept Kyle Rudolph, which was the next point I was going to get to, you can run some 2 tight end sets, which is going to provide extra protection, which is going to provide play action opportunities for Kirk Cousins, which he thrives in.
Yep.
I think that when you look at the goals of this offseason, which was A, first and foremost, prop up Kirk Cousins and put him in the best position you can to succeed, and B, keep this defense at the very least playing at the same level that it did last year. But really, if you want to be in the Super Bowl discussion, it needs to return to 2017 form. I think with those being the stated goals and the restrictions that you had in terms of resources and assets, they pretty much did everything that they could. Now, we don't know if the draft picks will pan out. but I think they did everything that they could to plug the holes and address the needs and get as close as they could to achieving those two stated goals I just talked about.
On the Griffin point, I think the one thing that you're missing is this, and it's the most important thing to me in this league, and that's loyalty cannot play a role in decisions. So once Barr comes back, okay, he's still good. Like, that was an unexpected development, and he decided to come back, and I firmly believe that there are some teams who would have said, Anthony, we appreciate it, but we are going to move on because it creates so much cap room, and we're going to spend that money elsewhere. I get the Vikings saying, no, you're still good. You're willing to take what is still a bit of a discount compared to what the Jets were going to pay him. So that's all understood by me. But the Griffin thing is a loyalty factor thing that I would have said, sorry, can't do it. Because what is Belichick great at? It's your time, you're done. Sorry, bye. Seriously.
No, I know.
No, it's a brutal sport.
I know.
No, but I mean, I'm dead. It sounds completely callous and like I'm a jerk, and perhaps I am. But this is one league where you have to draw that line and you have to make decisions that hurt people.
And I agree with you. And I 100% buy into the Bill Belichick theory. And he's not the first. I think I think the actual first person to state this as their philosophy was Branch Rickey, who said, I'd rather get rid of a player 1 year too early than 1 year too late.
I like the brand. That's good.
You like that? So
Knuckles right there.
You like that?
That's good.
Branch Rickey
love that
reference.
Yes.
How about that?
Fantastic.
Thank you. I'm not even old enough to make a Branch Rickey reference. I don't think I am.
You sort of are, though.
You think?
Just from the history books and all that. Yeah, you sort of are.
Declan says no.
No.
Thank you, Declan.
100% no. Not that he was around for Branch, but you can make it from a knowledge of sports.
I buy into that theory, though.
Huh?
And if there was a way to use the resources that they used on Everson Griffin to get more for their buck in terms of the improvement that a guy could bring to their team, I would say go ahead and do it. I didn't see that in this offseason. Like I said, I was underwhelmed by the offensive linemen that were on the market.
I'm not trying to say that they were great, but I do think that in our business, unless you are a complete film geek like Collar, that class of guys ordinarily doesn't strike us as being fantastic unless it's one or two just phenomenal Pro Bowl players.
I'm okay with them trying to improve the offensive line through the scheme of Gary Kubiak and the guys that they drafted.
I think an A is just too high, dude. I'm sorry.
But that's not shocking because you don't give A's.
I give a B-.
You've already stated that you don't give A's.
I think an A is too high.
That's fine. What do you think? 651-646-8255. You can tweet us at SKOR North. If we meet in the middle, I think we're giving him what, like an A minus, a solid B?
A B plus.
Somewhere in between your B minus and my A?
We're not getting to an A. B plus. You gave him an A, I gave him a B minus, B plus.
You won't even go A minus. I can't even negotiate you into an A minus.
No, not unless you buy lunch. In which case, I'll go full A minus.
We're at CHS Field tomorrow. There won't be a game being played.
There will not be a game being played, but I believe they are opening tomorrow night, if I'm not mistaken.
Will any concession stands be open while we're there? Since you mentioned lunch.
There will not be concession stands open while we're there until the end of our show, probably. But the area around that ballpark has some great restaurants.
Oh, cool! All right,
we'll grab lunch. You'll love it.
It's not.
I'm not kidding.
I believe you. It's not worth it for me to compromise and pay for lunch.
No, it's not.
For you to give him an A. I don't care.
In fact, the guy that you met at the Loon Stadium, who now is the head chef there on your tasting day.
Yeah.
Who was on Top Chef, right?
Yes.
When he was on Top Chef, I believe he was a chef at a bar and restaurant right near CHS Field that Dawn and I went to last year that was absolutely great.
Handsome Hog, is that the name of it?
Yes. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Great
I'm bad with names.
Really good spot.
Eric Sutherland, I believe is
well,
his name?
you will. This area has developed in the last 3 or 4 years now since the ballpark's gone up, and it's fantastic.
Now I'm getting hungry. Now you're making me hungry.
Sorry.
I'm
teasing you for it, though. It'll be exciting. It'll be great.
I won't buy lunch to bribe you into an A. Again, I don't care
You don't
enough.
want me to give him an A?
I don't care enough to do that. No.
I was willing to do it. I was willing to, no, I know when I went A minus. Right. I was willing to go A minus for lunch. But if you want me to stick at a B minus, I'll buy my own lunch.
Even if I offered to buy lunch, you wouldn't go to a solid A? No? All right.
That's your grade. I can't steal your thunder.
Again, this is all within the parameters and restrictions of what they could do with the limitations that they had. That's the only reason I'm giving him an A. I feel like they addressed the needs. They got close to achieving the goals that they had this offseason as they possibly could. I'll tell you